Let's start Chapter 4 on proportional relationships. Section 4.1 is all about identifying, writing, and comparing ratios. The definition of a ratio is a comparison between two quantities by division. Now there are three ways to write a ratio. There's A colon B, there's A to B, and also A to B, or A over B. Now check this one out. This last one right here, we've been dealing a lot with that. That's a fraction. Here's a secret. A fraction is a ratio. A fraction is a comparison of a part to a whole with division in the middle. That's what that fraction bar, or the vinculum, stands for, division. So you've been doing this for a long time. Let's take a look at how to set up ratios. In example 1, we have 20 students are asked to choose their favorite music category. 8 chose pop, 7 chose hip-hop, and 5 chose rock. We're going to write each of these ratios, A, B, and C, in all three forms as listed above. So we have a ratio of rock to hip-hop. In order to write that, we need to remember what the numbers are. I like to write them as fractions first. So I know that 5 students chose rock and 7 students chose hip-hop. So that's one way to write the ratio of rock to hip-hop. Then you can write it with the colon and then also with the word to. So the ratio of students that liked rock to hip-hop is 5 to 7, 5 to 7, and 5 to 7. Okay, let's do hip-hop to pop. So 7 chose hip-hop and 8 chose pop. So if we write this in all three ways, it would be 7 over 8, 7 to 8, and 7 to 8. Last one. We have rock to pop and hip-hop. So this is a little different. We have to add the number that liked pop and hip-hop. So 8 plus 7 would be 15. The number of students that chose rock stays the same. Let's write it in three different ways. 5 to 15, 5 to 15, and 5 to 15. That's how you set up ratios in all three ways. Now let's have you try. Here's the practice problem. 19 students are asked to choose their favorite sport. 9 chose rock climbing, 4 chose kite surfing, and 6 chose snowboarding. Write the ratio of snowboarding to rock climbing in all three forms. Go ahead and pause the video, give it a shot on your own, and then resume once you have your answer. Okay, so you should have set up the ratio of snowboarding to rock climbing. So 6 students chose snowboarding and 9 students chose rock climbing. So we have 6 over 9, or 6 to 9, 6 to 9, and 6 to 9. Those are the three different forms of ratios that you should have for this problem. Example 2. On average, most people can read about 600 words in 3 minutes. Write the ratio of words to minutes in all three forms. This time we need to write the answer in simplest form. This is just as easy as simplifying a fraction. So if we reread the problem, it says write the ratio of words to minutes, and the word to can be like your fraction bar. And we know that they read about 600 words in 3 minutes. if you look at the numbers, 600 over 3, that's a fraction. So we need to simplify that. Remember, we need to find a common factor. So I know that 3 goes into both my numerator and my denominator. That means that simplified, I know that I'm going to read 200 words in 1 minute. So to write that all in the 3 different forms, we'll have the fraction, just like I wrote up there, 200 words per 1 minute. There's also 200 words to 1 minute, and 200 words colon 1 minute. All 3 of these can be read 200 words to 1 minute. Okay, next up is the practice problem. At Casitas Middle School, there are 456 students for 152 microscopes. Write the ratio of students to microscopes in all 3 forms. Write the answer in simplest form. Go ahead and pause the video, work the problem out, and check back in when you have your answer. First up, you should have had the ratio written as students over microscopes. And according to our problem, we know that there are 456 students for 152 microscopes. So you should have the ratio written 456 over 152. To simplify it, here's a hint. Try your denominator. See if your denominator goes into your numerator evenly. So in this case, we're going to divide both the top and the bottom by 152. Luckily, that ends up with 3 over 1. 152 goes into 456 3 whole times. So the ratio of students to microscopes is 3 students for every 1 microscope in simplest form. So to write it in all 3 forms, we have 3 to 1, 3 to 1, and 3 to 1. So the ratio of students to microscopes would be 3 to 1. Example 3 tells us that honey lemon cough drops come in packages of 30 drops per 10-ounce bag. Cherry cough drops come in packages of 24 drops per 6-ounce bag. We need to tell which package has the greater ratio of drops to ounces. So drops to ounces is the way that we're going to write our ratio. In order to compare, we need to first simplify both of those ratios. So let's start with the larger bag. So that ratio would be 30 drops per 10-ounce bag. And I got that up here. Cherry would be 24 drops per 6-ounce bag. Let's simplify both of these ratios. So the first ratio, I know that 10 goes into both my numerator and denominator, which leaves me a ratio of 3 drops for every 1 ounce. 3 drops for every 1 ounce. Now, the second bag, the 24-ounce bag, I know that 6 goes into both my numerator and my denominator, which leaves me with a ratio of 4 drops per 1 ounce in the bag. Since this ratio, 4 drops to 1 ounce, is larger than 3 drops to 1 ounce, I know that the 6-ounce bag has a greater ratio. Of drops to ounces. Okay, Problem number 2, practice problem number 2, try it on your own. That's jelly beans come in small packages of 25 per 5-ounce package and large packages of 56 per 8-ounce package. Compare the ratio of jelly beans per ounce for each of these packages. Try it on your own first, pause the video, and then check back with me to see if you get it right. Okay, you should have set up your ratio as jelly beans per ounce, and you know that there are 25 jelly beans per 5-ounce package and 56 per 8-ounce package. Let's set up those two ratios as 25 over 5 and 56 over 8. You simplify both of those fractions. 25 fifths simplifies to 5 over 1, and 56 eighths simplifies to 7 over 1. Since 7 over 1 is the larger ratio, then you know that the 8-ounce bag has a greater ratio of jelly beans per ounce. How'd you do? So overall, setting up a ratio is as easy as remembering to set up in order. You look for words like to or per or for every to represent the fraction bar. Then you can simplify if it requires you to, or write it in the 3 different ways as described above.